Conker's Bad Fur Day is a game that needs no introduction. From PewDiePie to Oni Plays, it seems no matter the time period, Conker always remains at some level of popularity here on YouTube. And why wouldn't it? Sunflowers with big ol' boobies, opera singing piles of dookie, and an actual real pee-pee button, this game is truly one of a kind. And that's why it's not going to happen again. In this video, I'm going to explain why a game like Conker's Bad Fur Day will never ever happen again. And trust me, it's not the reasons that you're thinking. When I say this game can't happen again, I think most people's immediate thought process is that it can't happen again because it's inappropriate. And to that I say, no. Conker's Bad Fur Day is pretty edgy, sure, but we've come so much further in terms of edge levels in video games. I mean shit, have you seen the average Mortal Kombat fatality these days? Conker's blood and gore is child's play in comparison. And in terms of sexual content, Nintendo has literal hentai games on their consoles these days, so it's not like some off-screen pollination would prevent the game from being made today. No, you see, there are two reasons that Conker's Bad Fur Day could never be made again. The first and most obvious of which is circumstance. The circumstances that led to the creation of Conker's Bad Fur Day are just as unique as the game itself. Conker was originally conceptualized as a cutesy, kid-friendly character, starting with his appearance in Diddy Kong Racing, and Rare doubled down on this cutesy, family-friendly image in his Game Boy game, Conker's Pocket Tales. So you could imagine the absolute culture shock it must have been to see this kid's mascot dragged into this raunchy, gore-fest of a game.
And tossed into real-world nasty situations.
This reaction, this genuine laughter and befuddlement of the crowd is simply impossible to recreate. And let's keep in mind that this is from a time before the internet, so there was no funny internet cartoons where Mario does shrooms or Link gets stalked by an old guy. Nope, a baby game character saying swears and drinking alcohol was actually a crazy idea. This is why Conker couldn't be made today. The gaming industry has gotten far too comfortable playing it safe and taking absolutely no risks whatsoever. And turning one of your kid-friendly IPs into a raunchy parody of itself is simply an idea that's never going to get greenlight again. There's just no scenario where the stars align as perfectly as they did for Conker. But why did they align so perfectly for Conker? Why can't this scenario be recreated? Well, part of that is development hell. As most Conker fans probably know, before Bad Fur Day was even considered, Conker was actually going to be a full-length, family-friendly game. According to Chris Marlowe, the voice actor of the Great Mighty Pooh, the game simply wasn't coming together. They had plenty of fun ideas here and there, but it wasn't a coherent game. Most importantly, it was too similar to Banjo, Rareware's other cutesy animal platformer. Years passed, and eventually, they were left with two options. Either cancel the game entirely, or make it into something different. Now, I know what you may be thinking. Ducksen, couldn't an indie dev just make a similar game with a swearing animal protagonist?
Let me get this straight, dumbass!
And to that, I respond with my second reason for why this game could never be made today: talent. Now, I don't doubt that indie devs are capable of matching Bad Fur Day's quality. That's not the issue here, because this game is flawed as shit. Most of this game is actually terrible to control and not designed very well. But when I talk about talent, I think I mean it mostly in terms of aesthetics. That is what I'm most confident that an indie dev today would struggle to recreate. Conker's got some of the most memorable tracks in video game history. Again, even if you don't recognize the game itself, I can almost guarantee that you've heard the game's overworld track in one way or another. Too many YouTubers use this shit for you to have not heard it. Outside of me sucking off the game's soundtrack though, I think a lot of devs today lack the restraint to play certain jokes straight. Writers today just have a strange fascination with Marvel-style quips, where a character has to point out the absurdity of the situation that they're currently in.
I just moosh it with my freaking mind!
Meanwhile, in Conker's Bad Fur Day, you're tasked with rolling a literal ball of shit up a mountain, and nobody around you really questions it. Conker himself just kind of accepts it as a fact of reality that he's gonna have to deal with if he wants to progress. And I think that's so much funnier than having him acknowledge the absurdity of the situation itself. Because I'm here! I don't need the character to spell it out for me! I can see it for myself! Rants aside, it's not like the writing in Bad Fur Day is super subtle. It is really surface level, lowbrow humor, and oftentimes I find myself asking, why the hell did they even do certain things? Like, whose idea was it for Conker to sacrifice a newborn? It's not even really funny, it's just kind of fucking cruel, but not in a way that I genuinely take offense to. It's more like I'm just bewildered that something like this was actually even made. Genuinely, what was Chris Seaver thinking? Okay, yeah, we're gonna have a level that's a mountain of literal shit. We'll have a Saving Private Ryan level, and ooh, let's sacrifice a newborn for good measure. In conclusion, there's just zero chance that a game like Conker's Bad Fur Day could ever be made again. Sure, you could definitely make a vulgar game with a cutesy art style now, but that joke is not only old, but it's been pushed even further than even Conker dared to go. Nobody bats an eye over the fact that you can use a literal unborn fetus as a weapon in The Binding of Isaac, so why would they care about a mountain of poop? And as bittersweet as it may be, even Conker himself agrees that the game couldn't be made today.
It was made now, and if it was the same team, it wouldn't. I don't think we'd do a game that people would want, because they'd want the original Conker, but again, we're not the people to make that game, ironically, because we've changed. My tastes have changed, and I've moved on.
It's genuinely saddening because people love Conker and want another game like this. Hell, I'm one of those people. At one point, I even thought about making my own game inspired by Conker, but as I've already explained in this video, it just wouldn't be the same. Oh wow, a random indie dev making a super messed up game with a cutesy art style? Color me shocked. So, instead of crying because it's over, let's smile that it even happened at all. Because there will never ever be another game like Conker's Bad Fur Day. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, help me out by leaving a like or subscribing. And if you hated it, let me know why in the comments below. Either way, I'm gonna go urinate on my enemies. Peace.